This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 598.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why? Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silvey, host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right. Upcoming events. No WordCamps next weekend, sadly, but there is an event next Saturday, not at all connected to WordPress, connected to me. It's my dog's 11th birthday. He will be 11 years old. His name is Delvis, like dog Elvis. Long story, but nonetheless, he is on Instagram at Delvis the dog, DELVIS the dog. If you want to follow him, wish him happy birthday next Saturday, that'd be great. I'm also going to be running a 25K run in his behalf. All right, moving on, segment one in the news. One thing to talk about here, and that is that hackers exploited a critical WordPress theme to hijack sites in a remote plugin install. Apparently, threat actors actively exploiting the critical flaw in the Alone Charity multi-purpose nonprofit WordPress theme. It's a mouthful of a theme name. I'll put a link in the show notes about that. The vulnerability makes it possible for unauthenticated attacker to upload arbitrary files to a vulnerable site and achieve remote code execution, which is typically leveraged for a complete site takeover. That was written by WordFence's Istvan Marton. So yeah, check that out. If you're using that theme or know someone who is, you're going to want to make sure that gets updated or changed out as soon as possible because that is not good. It's been tracked as CVE 20255394. It has a score of 9.8. So yeah, it's pretty high up there. Anyway, that is it in the news. Yeah, that's it in the news. Moving on to segment two, the meat potatoes of this week's episode. So recently I was sitting across from a potential client. And when I say sitting across, I actually mean online in a Zoom room. I was drinking coffee. They were drinking coffee, new client conversation, etc. I was listening to them describe their dream website. And somewhere between words like modern, clean design and easy to use and update, they started dropping terms like custom fields, jet engine, and Gutenberg blocks, as if they had just watched the WordPress Buzzword Olympics. Literally, it was kind of weird. And part of me wanted to give them a medal just for that. But the other part of me knew that my job was to politely steer the ship towards what they would actually work for them. And then that got me thinking, so even for us pros, knowing which tools to use, learn, and keep current on, that is an ongoing puzzle that always needs to be explored. So this week, I'm talking and sharing what's worth learning today within the arena of custom fields, blocks, and builders, because there are so many different categories you can go down this rabbit hole if you think about it. So starting with the Swiss Army knife factor, choosing the tools that actually fit. The danger of tool overload. Just because you can learn every custom field plugin doesn't mean you should. We've all been there. You open up your plugin list and realize you're basically collected field plugins like Pokemon cards. My good friend, his kids, $14,000 value in their Pokemon collection, which is crazy. Luckily, or sadly, I don't have that much value in all my collection of plugins. Maybe I do. Anyway, I digress. The truth is, if you're running a business, you don't get extra points for knowing all of them. You get points for using the right one every time and to be quick with it. Comparing ACF, MetaBox, Jet Engine, not by features alone, but by the client needs, your existing stack and longevity. So your client might not need Jet Engine's complexity, or maybe even ACF feels like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. But MetaBox might play really nice with certain stacks, but not others. So if the tool doesn't integrate smoothly in your usual setup, or if you're worried it'll disappear in 2 years, it might not be the right tool, right? So reverse the usual process. Understand the project, pick the tool. Too many developers pick the tool first and then try to shoehorn the project into it. And that's not the way you want to go about this, right? So the actionable item here is do the tool audit. I do this every year when things come, especially when things come up for renewal, but every year I do this. I list the top 3 most common projects that we do. I assign one go-to custom field solution, or one, in this case, custom fields, and that's it. No more spinning the wheels. So we use ACF. Yes, simple as that. Over at Concierge WP. Nothing else, nothing more. We just use ACF. It works. I paid for it back when you could do the lifetime, and I know it's gone through a couple iterations, but that's what we have, and it's simple. So the action item here is to do the tool audit. The second thing to talk about here is Gutenberg blocks. Let me rephrase that. Friend, foe, or frenemy, right? So native Gutenberg is powerful, but it's not magic. I'm still working through things there. Is it the future? Probably. It's getting better every release. Yes. But no, it's not going to suddenly solve any workflow frustrations unless you're intentional about how you use it. Now, when working with custom blocks, it's worth investing in it, right? If you keep making the same testimonial slider or call to action banner, why not just make it once as a block and reuse it forever? Your future self will very much thank you for this, okay? Tools like ACF, ProBlocks, Block Lab, Direct-based Gutenberg development can each make sense when appropriate, okay? ACF Pro Block types are a quick win if you already know ACF. Block Lab works for simpler needs. Full React development, over my head. It's a full-time commitment. The flexibility is there, but I'm not there yet as a developer. There's no stretch. There's no way. In my team, we don't do that. So the actionable item here really is pick 2 or 3 client content patterns that you can rebuild over and over. Using like global themes. That's what we use in Beaver Builder. We'll talk about that in a second here. But again, using things over and over again, reusable blocks will save you a ton of time. That's the action item here, is to kind of make sure you pick some content patterns and you can rebuild them to use them over. Build them once, reuse them again and again. That's what I want to say here. Okay, number 3, page builders. Are they still relevant or are they being sunsetted? Well, the quote, Gutenberg is eating the world narrative versus reality, it's true. Gutenberg is replacing some builders in some cases, but let's not bury them just yet. Elementor, Beaver Builder, Bricks, they're still thriving in plenty of scenarios. We still use it 100% of the time. Is that true? Yeah, it is true. 100% of the time. I am testing another theme right now. I'll talk about that in a couple of weeks and how I'm going to be testing it as well. But builders still win when you need to whip up a site in a small biz in 2 to 3 days. Page builders make that happen. It's really simple to get things going quickly. The builders shine there really fabulously. Some clients, the builder interface is way less intimidating than the block editor. And recently I saw something on Twitter about people testing Gutenberg, the latest, FSC with their partner or their mom was testing it, and it just wasn't very good as far as an experience for somebody brand new. So the action item here, of course, is pick your primary builder, learn it inside and out, know the keyboard shortcuts, the responsive tweaks, the templating system, and that way you'll work faster and your clients will feel the benefit. Okay. And lastly, number 4, is this the last one? Yeah, I think this is shiny object syndrome versus sustainable skill growth. Every week there's a new plugin, a new tool launch, a SaaS model, something out there. If you try to master them all, you'll be tired, you're gonna be broke, and possibly crying into your coffee. Identifying the overlapping skills, if you know how to structure custom post types and fields in ACF, picking up MetaBox later won't be a huge leap. Skills are transferable, and that's really what's key here, is knowing which tool and which can you transfer for the principal aspect of running the business. Learning how data relationships work is forever. Learning which button this one plugin to click, that's kind of disposable. So stay relevant without living in a course-taking purgatory. I'm guilty of this sometimes. I will do a ton of research. I will test out too many things, and I won't make a decision to move forward. Case in point, my testing and my use of community forum plugins. I'm pretty sure I've got that nailed down now. I talked about it a couple of months ago, maybe Fluent Community. So I think that's where we're going. Anyway, so limit yourself to learning one substantial new thing per quarter. Make something real with it. No hoarding courses and never finish, because otherwise it's not going to be great. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're looking to run client sites in 2025, the goal isn't to learn every new tool. It's to know your toolbox so well you can use it blindfolded. So start with that tool audit, maybe lean into Gutenberg where it fits. And your clients don't care if it's ACF or MetaBox. They care that it works, loads fast, and makes them money and gets the project done and launched within their budget. Okay, so there you go. If you have any other approaches to this, I would love to hear them. Feel free to share, reach out, let me know. All right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's, it's a tool, it's a game, it's a tip. It's Unleash the Wapuu. The card game is now available for order. It's by my good friend Marcus Burnett. It's available. It's I think, what's the price of it? Let me double check here for you. Buy now. It is $34.99. It's on sale. So it's going to sell fast. It looks like there's only 2 left in stock. That's crazy. So by the time you hear this, it might be sold out, but it's okay. I'm sure he'll have a a coming soon page. Let him let you know when it comes back in stock. It's over at the wp.world site, but it's I'll put a link in the show notes directly to it. All right, that is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, become a Patreon. That'd be great. You could also buy me a coffee, same place on the website. You can sponsor the show. There's a form you need to fill out. I'll get right back to you. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.